Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 8 of the anime series Coppelion. And this was quite an intriguing episode, picking up right where we leave off with the debut of the Ozu sisters. The rest of that cleanup crew under Haruto, and he's still trying to get in contact with them, but of course, hearing nothing, they've basically just completely stonewalled him as far as communicating with him anymore. And this whole episode, it gets action-packed. It has twists and turns that were kind of surprising to me, especially along the lines of we're finding out more of the origins of the Coppelion. What exactly the process was by which they were created. Gene splicing, it gets quite technical, but what was really fascinating to me as sort of just this great commentary on the way the world is, as far as mass media and entertainment being something people seem to adhere to more and linger toward more than science and intellect and reading books. And in this case, we're finding out actors and actresses are the people whose DNA were taken and spliced to create these clones, essentially these Coppelion. And I just find that very intriguing. I think that must have been a grand commentary on the state of the world, because we place more importance on sports figures and, celebrities and things like that than we do people who are scientists or people who are making, the grade as a teacher or things like that, people who support intellect. And we find out that, in the case of the Ozu sisters, they were both spliced from an actress who was also a serial killer. So, yeah, that's not working out too well. Rather than, say, a George Carlin-esque comedian who hereditarily, I've heard him speaking about how in his family lineage, his grandfather was somebody who wrote out by hand the works of Shakespeare and things like that. From his father, who he never knew, was an oratory speaker who was winning awards. So it's something hereditary, a sort of creativity. You don't necessarily want people who look good on camera and use their genes, but I digress. Essentially, this whole episode is Ibarra and her crew being forced to engage these two other Coppelion who have now sided with the First Division. And they know full well what's coming. They want to wipe out humanity megalomaniacally to be the rulers of the world, that kind of thing. And it's just very interesting. I mean, Ibarra kicks so much ass when she steals that tank from the First Division, gets all the, human beings that are surviving in that place, the planet, on board, and they realize, after a sort of game of one-upsmanship, because of course they hide out in a shopping center at first, but then they're found, and Ibarra almost has her ass handed to her by these sisters, and that's another intriguing aspect of these sisters, the powers of the Coppelion are very different. We have one who is super-powered, has superhuman strength. The other has electricity powers, like, Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, sitting there shooting out electricity at people. And this was all meant to be a way to save people. You figure when an ambulance comes and somebody's heart is stopped, to get it going again, they use paddles, electricity. And that's what the purpose of, this essentially Ozu sisters' powers was meant to be able to get people in there as quick as possible and save human beings' lives if possible. But of course, it's just a tyrannous corruption, if you will. And so we see them having to go up against it, and they duke it out with these sisters, just barely manage to best them in quite a spectacular fashion. And here's where it really gets interesting, because of course Haruto has now found himself just out for a stroll by the end of the episode, and what happens is he realizes the winds, the storm that's oncoming has turned so that all of this radiation, all of this fallout is now going right back toward the people who are trying to survive. So the question is, how can they get out of there as quickly as possible? I think they're going to call back on that train railway system from a few episodes back, and it'll be interesting to see how they uncover it. So yeah, I love this series. I can't wait to see how it finishes up in the next few episodes. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you're able to post what you thought of this episode if you've seen it. Otherwise, that'll be it for me, and I'll catch you later. Peace.